Wildfire. Wildfire is a huge fire in a large area of vegetation that could occur whether in the countryside or rural area. It causes massive damage to property and human life. Wildfires in ecosystems where wildfire is uncommon may have negative ecological effects such as the risk of extinction to animal or plant species. Burning up to 800 degrees Celsius, wildfires raise the temperatures of the soil and wipes away almost all the organic value within the soil. Over the last century, wildfires in the world caused hundreds of human casualties and burned millions of acres of land, racking up losses up to billions of dollars. From this chart provided in an article by the Fire magazine shows an increase of big wildfires occurrences in Australia over the past 2 decades. Another chart provided by the World Resources Institute. The amount of fire alerts in the United States is experiencing an alarming spike from 2010 to 2015. Wildfires' behavior and severity result from the combination of factors such as cause of ignition, combustible materials present, and the effects of weather on the fire. Strategies of wildfire prevention, detection and suppression have varied over the years. One common and inexpensive prevention technique is controlled burning, in which permits the igniting of smaller fires to minimize the amount of combustible materials available for a potential wildfire. Vegetation may be burned periodically to maintain high species diversity, and frequent burning of surface fuels limits accumulation. However, controlled burning is not always effective. On August 26, 2009, a controlled burn got out of control in Yosemite National Park, California. It was known as the Big Meadow Fire. It was planned to span one day across 91 acres, ended up spreading across more than 7,400 acres of the park. The nearby town of Forester was evacuated for several days due to the blaze. Therefore, after this incident, it's a fair question to ask, with so much at stake, is this method still worth it? On November 22, 2016, a wave of fires began in Israel. Some of the fires occurred naturally, others were arson attacks. Unable to suppress the fires on their own, Israel reached out for help from neighboring countries. Cyprus, Russia, Croatia, Italy, Greece, Jordan, Egypt, Azerbaijan, France and Ukraine sent aircrafts and other equipment to aid with fighting the fires. In one interview of a Pakistan firefighter, he gave his views about helping Israel for firefighting regardless their differences in political views.
Firefighters their aim is to stop fire. No need to look up of religion or anything else. The human being is the same for the firefighters all over the world.
On November 28, after 8 days, the firefighting services announced that the emergency condition was over. The firefighters fought a total of 1,773 fires, of which 39 of them were huge fires. The largest fire occurred in Haifa, which is the third largest city in the state of Israel. 527 apartments were destroyed completely, leaving 1,600 citizens homeless. More than 350 firefighters and 115 firefighting vehicles operating in the city were activated to fight the big fire. The damage cost from the fire in Haifa was estimated at $131 million. Other major fires occurred in Zichron Yaakov, Jerusalem area and the West Bank. An estimated number of 75,000 residents were evacuated from 11 neighborhoods. Israel's Nature and Park Authority reported that more than 4,900 acres of forests, brushland and open space were burned, the largest amount since 2010. There are three major natural causes of wildfire ignitions: lightning, volcanic eruption, and spontaneous combustion. However, in some countries, human involvement is a major contributor. Many wildfires are attributed to human activities such as animal husbandry, agriculture, land conversion, burning, arson, discarded cigarette butts, sparks from equipment, and power line arcs. These activities mainly cause two types of wildfire: surface fire, which burns along the floor of a forest, spreads slowly, killing wildlife and damaging trees. Crown fire, which spreads rapidly by jumping along the tops of trees based on wind. Depending on the wind speed, the thickness of the forest and the dryness of the environment, the fires can spread very quickly and grow within a short period. It was reported that at a wind speed of 20 miles per hour with flat terrain, 3,000 acres of land can burn in an hour. A rapid forward rate of spread when burning through dense, uninterrupted fuels could reach 10.8 kilometers per hour in forests and 22 kilometers per hour in grasslands. Based on the incidents mentioned, controlled burning hold too many risks to be considered as a safe method for wildfire prevention and suppression. There are a few difficulties and factors faced when considering this method. Based on different vegetation in the forest, precise amount of fuel must be used to burn, otherwise any small mistake will cause an unexpected big fire. Natural factors to consider includes the wind speed and direction, the level of humidity in an area, air temperature, and soil moisture. After effects of an escape fire from controlled burning includes killing of part of a plant, or the entire plant, which results to low-quality soil, where its minerals is destroyed in the fire. Excess stuff caused by the fire will collate on the soil, which will cause soil pores to clog. Therefore rainwater will not be able to seep through, which leads to soil erosion on the surface. Due to the soil erosion, suspended soil particles, dissolved in organic nutrients and other materials will end up in a nearby stream or river, reducing the water quality. Controlled burning also contribute changes in air quality. Due to the burning, smoke produced will consist of ash, consumed fuel, liquid droplets, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrocarbons and small quantities of nitrogen oxides, which will affect both human and wildlife. Visibility will be affected for nearby areas of the burning. Over 90% of the particles in the smoke are small enough to enter the human and wildlife respiratory system, which in long term can cause respiratory problems and cancer. Firefighting services involves the use of fire extinguishing agents, and water is presumed the safest method of putting out a wildfire. However, it is inefficient due to the high requirement of manpower and terrain accessibility. Due to difficult terrains, which are hard to access, firefighting vehicles traveling on the road will take a few hours to arrive, leaving only with firefighting helicopters to temporarily suppress the fire. By the time the firefighting vehicles arrive, the wildfire would have already spread over a huge area. It is highly likely that wildfires, like the ones that occurred in Israel, would occur in the many other parts of the world due to many changing factors which are affected by global warming. Therefore, seeking help from neighboring countries is not a long-term solution nor politically feasible for countries with high occurrences of wildfire. Therefore, a new method of wildfire prevention and suppression had to be implemented, which will not only be efficient but also safe. A new wildfire extinguishing system is designed, which consists of an unmanned drone, a satellite and guided missiles, which contains fire extinguishing agents. These extinguishing agents come in the form of round plastic bombs which will be loaded into missiles. These missiles are then stored in the control station basement. Unmanned drones will be dispatched based on the occurrences of wildfires in an area.
This animation will show the ideology of the new wildfire extinguishing system. An unmanned drone patrols the area that it's allocated. With sensitive infrared sensors, it detects the fire location at its early stage. Details recorded includes the coordinates of the wildfire, the wind speed at that particular area, and the temperature of the hotspot. Using an advanced GPS system, the drone then transmits the data to the Wildfire Control Center through wireless communication system via satellite. Based on the data, the control center staff will then determine the number of extinguishing agents required to put out the wildfire. They will request permission from higher authorities such as the military forces to proceed. Upon receiving the command, the control center staff will launch the guided missiles into the fire zone, which extinguishes the wildfire. In an unlikely case of miscalculation due to the weather condition or other factors, the fire will not be extinguished. The whole process repeats, and the control center staff will launch another missile into the fire zone to extinguish the remains of the wildfire.
The wildfire control centers will be built across forests which are highly prone to wildfires. The control center consists of multiple buildings which contains present-day technology such as power generators, Wi-Fi systems, and many storage areas to contain the extinguishing agents. The storage areas will be built at basements with thick concrete walls and maintained at low temperature. This will minimize the heat, humidity and dust within the extinguishing agents and missiles, therefore reducing the chance of rust and corrosion. The extinguishing warheads will be designed to be heat-seeking self-guided missiles which will have a minimum coverage of 1,000 kilometers from the wildfire control center. An average missile could travel an average speed of 3.5 kilometers per second, which is 10 times the speed of sound. The Wildfire Control Center must ensure that all safety protocols have been adhered before firing the missiles. They must consider if the wildfire-affected areas have civilian buildings or activities there. If so, immediate evacuation is necessary before the control center can proceed to fire the missiles. Some of the wildfires-affected areas will have military exercises conducted. Therefore, they must obtain clearance from higher authorities of the military before firing the missiles to ensure the safety of the soldiers. The critical factors of fighting wildfires are the speed of deployment and turnaround time. The new wildfire extinguishing system will be costly. However, comparing it to the cost of damages caused by wildfires, it will be more economically efficient. In terms of the time taken to extinguish the fire, the heat-seeking guided missiles will be much faster as they can reach and deliver the extinguishing power to the wildfire before the firefighters and firefighting air support arrive. To this present day, global warming has caused an increased occurrence of wildfires across the world. Therefore, investments from governments and big companies are desirable to fund this firefighting system. With the joint effort of the world, it is believed that big wildfires can be prevented.